this meeting to order. And do we have any public comment? Somebody was here, but they were staff.
They were here for an item that's not on the agenda.
Oh,
Shared that with them, so they didn't have to wait.
okay.
See ya.
Well, let's begin then. We can, good morning, everyone. We can start with the finance items, action items.
Good morning, Dr. Randalls and committee members. The first action item is our purchasing agenda, and they're just some, I guess, regular kind of beginning of the year, fiscal year acquisitions. There is including your packet, a memo on the next phase, if you will, of the 111 College building demolition and I guess renovation of the property, if you will. So if there's any questions or Ken, anything you want to say on that particular?
Contract.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good here.
We've only had one complaint for dust on a car.
Oh,
The building is pretty much down. If you've driven by, there's not much left. They're cleaning up. This contract is for site restoration and the bus drop-off drive that will be built. At this time, the site restoration is going to be lawn. We talked to the neighborhood and felt it was best to wait till we do the whole campus to incorporate more specific landscaping into the project rather than do things that might not fit or they're in the wrong spot. So we are going to make it green for now. And then the bus drop-off will be from College, coming in, turning and exiting onto Fountain, which matches the master plan location for the bus drop-off. And that should alleviate most, if not all, of the bus backup onto College Avenue.
great. Will vehicles be able to go through there, or it'll be exclusively bus?
We're going to start off with exclusively buses, and parents use the existing driveway by Fountain.
Yeah.
And if we need to adjust the mix as we get into it and see what the traffic looks like, we can do that. But we're going to start with buses only.
Any other questions, comments?
No. Good.
Good. The motion for the purchase agreement?
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you. The second action item is the Van Andel Museum sublease, the downtown site of our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade museum school. And we've been essentially working on the sublease agreement for about a year with the museum. And we're at the point now where both of us agree to the terms. This is, since the museum actually leases the museum group actually leases the museum from the city who owns it. This would be a sublease from the museum. Because we do not own the property, but we are putting some capital investment in the property, we're required by law to have at least a 99-year lease agreement for any lease arrangements. So item 1 of the sublease, you'll see the term is 99 years, and that's the reason why, because by law it's required for us to make an investment. We have to have that in there. The rest of it just lays out really what has transpired throughout the the last school year, if you will. This year we'll be utilizing the renovated and new classrooms that are going on right now for 6th, 7th, and then next year, 2017-18 will be the 8th grade will be there also. As well as there is programming and use of other parts of the museum, like the planetarium, and there are some provisions in this agreement to compensate the museum staff for their time spent with our kids. And we've got some numbers in the agreement, but there's an agreement also in terms of staff time, museum time, that we true that up at the end of the year for actual time spent. These are estimates, what we think. The actual piece of it that is related to the square footage physical use is at $5 a square foot, which is really minimal, if you will. So it's not that we had an issue coming into an agreement with museum we have, and it's just a lot of provisions that took place given the arrangement with potential bond money being used there, and the need for a 99-year lease. And there, I think we maybe had talked earlier, a year or so ago, that there's kind of a complicated ownership of the museum between the city, the museum nonprofit organization, and actually there is the city building authority has ownership in it too. So to get through all the legal ramifications of this agreement took some time when the attorneys got hold of it, wrangling back and forth. So we're at the point now we both agree to it. We're asking this body to approve it on our side. The museum will take it to their board, who knows it's coming, and for their formal approval and get it signed in time for the new school year to begin.
That's great. Any questions or comments? Get a motion to approve the sublease agreement for Van Andel?
So moved.
Support. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Word.
All right, the next two items are resolutions. We're asking approval from the board related to the sale of two of our empty properties, the Pine property, and then we call the Park School property on Adams Street. The Park property is an actual real estate, actual purchase agreement, if you will, to occur once all the provisions within the agreement are done. The Pine Street is actually a purchase option at this point in time with the Kent County Land Bank. Kent County Land Bank actually approached Ken and I maybe a year ago looking at some property around the Harrison School and needed us to do some, I guess, move some things in our property. Just didn't work for us in terms of some security concerns that we had. So we had actually talked to them about the Pine property, and they like that. And so they are offering a purchase option on that. That'll go through July of next year. If they exercise the option, the purchase price is at the fair market, the appraised value as is required by the board of $295,000. The land bank is in the business. It's a semi-governmental organization to acquire and clear title quickly on old property, abandoned property, those kinds of things, with the intent to, in many cases, in this case, probably to build some affordable housing in the area. The Park property is a sale to an organization that I guess represents Rockford Construction. And, there's some development going on there. The exact use of that Park property will not be a school, but in terms of whether it gets raised or whether something else happens, we're not sure at this point in time. We have reserved the playground equipment on that property. We want that for our use, and that's also laid out. So the resolutions, and for those new to maybe Dr. Flores, resolutions essentially approve the sale pending final paperwork and gives the superintendent, myself, and Ken to make those final changes, as long as they're not substantive. And the drafts of the agreements you have in front of you were worked out in final, if you will, final draft form approximately on Friday. There are a few little things we know need to be done, but they should not change substantially. And I know there's been some emails back and forth the last couple of days on both of these things. So certainly, I don't, Ken, anything more you have to add? And we've got John here, knows a little bit more about what's going on, but any questions that the committee members might have. You may recall that the 16-17 budget included $600,000 in revenue from sale of assets. So if these two purchases come to fruition, that's $600,000 right there at the beginning of the year. So
No questions, no comments?
No questions.
Okay. I do have, so then the Pine property, this sale could take up to a year then, is But then the park property is going to happen fairly quickly.
My understanding is, yeah, as soon as as soon as this body approves the sale, and then any final changes to any minor changes to the purchase agreement will be worked out, and then, yeah, I
Okay.
understand, be
So-
signed, yeah.
Ultimately, the Pine should sell property. It's more just
Yeah, I don't,
the way
so
they
there's a
do
lot,
business or
my understanding is a
something.
lot, as you know, a lot going on, a lot of properties, the land bank is acquiring, and to work out final use of the property, I think that they're working out some of those details before they actually execute or accept the option, if you will, so
Mhm.
we're fairly confident that the sale will in fact take place,
Mhm.
so,
While it's in the name of the land bank,
right.
dwelling place is the developer,
Mhm.
if you will, and they need the option period in order to get all their financing in place.
Mhm.
They have gone to the Planning Commission for a zoning change, which is very typical before properties change hands, so the buyer knows if they're going to get the zoning or not. It's all dependent on the sale being completed. Their plan for 20-some townhouse-type units would actually create some green space around the buildings. Right now, if you've been to Pine, it's a building and a parking lot.
Mm.
The tree lawn is about the only grass there. So it would create more. They did talk about leaving a strip along one end that would be open to neighborhood use.
Nice. Good.
So while it will take longer, that one really seems to be a good use. It also fits within the Challenge Scholars area and would provide some additional affordable housing within Challenge Scholars.
That's exciting. I think we all had concerns and the newspaper's been covering it, I think it fairly accurately in terms of the goals of these two properties to have affordable housing and green space for the Grand Rapids Public Schools area, the city of Grand Rapids. So that's very exciting because we're all very concerned about having affordable housing for families and increasing green space or maintaining green space. So it's very exciting to hear that. Mr. Hemholt, did you want to add anything? I think it is, we haven't talked much about the park property, and I think that too is sensitive to not gentrification, but improving affordable housing for.
Sure. We've had extensive conversations with Rockford and the Doug and Maria DeVos Foundation. The partners in this are really looking at this as a comprehensive approach, looking at how they can improve employment opportunities for individuals that live in that neighborhood. How can they create quality housing, affordable housing, and then also improve education. It's part of purpose-built communities. This is a model nationally where they've looked at it, and it's really a model to really look at redevelopment with an eye toward minimizing gentrification to the degree possible. If you look at how Doug and Maria DeVos Foundation engaged the community through Believe to Become, it was very authentic, very comprehensive. This plan, that is what their intent is. They have not developed the plan yet. One of the questions is what do they intend to do with the park? They don't know yet because they have not started the community engagement process yet. So it's unfortunate the plan kind of got leaked out and some individuals reacted to it, but their intent is to be fully engaged with members of the community, the homeowners, the renters, individuals that are living there, as well as the business owners, and it's so the plan is not cooked. The individual that the DeVos Foundation have hired, they kind of stole from the city of Orlando, who had extensive experience with these place-based communities, and so we're very confident in it. We're excited about this. This is not only an opportunity for Grand Rapids Public Schools as a whole, as we expect that it will serve and support families that are in the 49507, but they have also said they have a direct interest in in kind of adopting Dickinson Academy as well, and being very focused on that K-5. We also met with Doug and Maria just recently, and they talked a lot about Ottawa Hills and what more they can do to engage there, particularly as we invest the $17 million in bond money.
Great. Did you want to add anything else about Pine property?
Just nothing other than, we were in lots of meetings with the Kent County Land Bank and Dwelling Place, and this is something that's very positive for GRPS and for the West Side. As we know, the families, many of our families have actually been kind of forced out because their rents have doubled. So that's something that is real, and having partners like Dwelling Place and Kent County Land Bank to come in and really utilize, in this case, one of our properties to create more than 20 affordable housing units, certainly on just the Pine space, let alone the property that's on Alpine across from the old 7-Eleven there. That will be good for Harrison, will be good for the West Side, and good for the district.
Yeah, great. That, and then the Grand Rapids Community Foundation investing in Habitat for Humanity. We've really got a lot of great partners.
Yep.
It's awesome. All right, thank you. Do we need individual resolution pass? We need to pass each
We
resolution.
do, and then I believe this will have to go to the board also as an
Sure.
action item for the, particularly the future blessing here would be great. So.
Can I get a motion to move this resolution to the full board for a vote?
So moved. Support.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And then also, I need a motion for the resolution of 1138 Pine Avenue Northwest, that we can move that to the full board for a vote.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Great,
Thank you.
thank you.
We're down to reports and updates section of the meeting now, and can you talk about warm, safe, and dry?
The warm, safe, and dry updates in your packet, and just to add some more for you to look at, there was some questions of if we could sort what we'd done at buildings or by project. So we had done this for superintendent prior, and we updated. It still probably could use some tweaking, but in your packet, there's a list that's sorted by location, so by each building, what we've done, by type of project, and then we also sorted it by the contractor. We did not put subtotals in yet. If that's a desired thing, we can go back and look at things like that. I'd really like to have you look at it and then get back to me with, if that meets what information you were looking for.
Great.
And we can keep this up month to month also.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's great just to reflect what we've been doing and how we've been utilizing Warm, Safe, and Dry funds. Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? No.
I do need to, one project is lagging, and that's stocking. Stocking has, around the doors, had some ornate terracotta work that was part of the project, and part of our masonry restoration. It was cast wrong. It's like a 4-month delivery. We are working with them to shorten that because that was the casting company's fault, not ours. It actually took pieces so they could match them and still didn't match them. We had them about spring break, and we waited till summer to put them up, till the kids were gone, and then found they were incorrect. So we're trying to work through that. That's going to take some time. That's the one project that's lagging. Everything else is moving forward. From the bond perspective, the 111 College, the building is essentially down. It's cleanup work now and then restoration. And Colville, we will have occupancy prior to mid-August.
Great.
Before the teachers need to arrive. We have not scheduled the ribbon cutting date. There's still some discussion whether it should happen before school or after school when students can be involved. So that's yet to be determined, but we're on track to get that open.
Great. Good. That's awesome. Anything else?
Then actually, that relates to bond updated. Ken, maybe some comments on the next phase of hiring architects and general contractors for,
We have, for the next group of projects, which is the Museum School, Ottawa, I'm drawing a blank, Buchanan and City, we have interviewed both architects and construction managers. We had hoped to bring a recommendation today, but we're doing some last vetting with the superintendent. So we'll have to determine when that comes back. We've also put out requests for proposals and received them for Union. What's the other one?
Central?
No, it's not Central. Anyway, we've received two more. I'm drawing a blank right now. And we may wind up bringing those all together. But we wanted to, this is a critical decision, and we didn't want to rush through. We want to make sure we have all the vetting done before we make a recommendation to finance. It may come that we have to go straight to the board for timing,
Sure.
but you'll still have the opportunity to ask questions and have input.
Great. Anything else? Any other comments, concerns? No? And
Sustainability.
Sustainability, Kristen will be back around Labor Day. She did stop by with her baby to our office. I'm not sure how she'd come back. I would have trouble. Anyway, she's going to start working part-time from home to get things back on track, especially our annual report that includes a significant amount of sustainability reporting. So that's going to start, and that will meet our schedule when we start to get data in later in August, our utility data.
Great.
Hopefully by Labor Day, we're back on track, full force with sustainability.
Those babies are something, huh?
Just
Take a
for
lot of
clarity,
time.
Kristen, in September, will be here 2 years, and the plan always was the third year, technically, she becomes our employee, although U.S. Green Building Council pays half her salary. And then after that, she would be full-time our, if that's the choice to make at that point. We're working with HR to make that process transition to become a GRPS employee.
Great.
Good.
Well, wonderful. Yeah, so I was wondering about that, and from some of the reports that she had given, the intention, and Dr. Flores wasn't here when we brought her on, but the USGBC and the whole goal is that she is saving enough money for the district to justify her position. And so then by the third year, she should have saved the district enough money that we can afford to keep her on board without it being a burden, and then grow from there. So that's great to hear that moving in that direction.
And her goals were not just in savings, and not just in getting us involved in sustainable practices to a greater extent, but also in working with our curriculum department and making sure that the education of sustainability was being shared with our students. So that it's more than just a cost savings or, there's, the education part was really a big focus of bringing her on.
Good. Great. And she's proven effective in that area as well. Wonderful. Anything else? No policy for this time, which is totally fine.
Summer's pretty quiet,
Yeah, yeah.
as you know, so yeah.
The policy for the fund balance, we need to have that brought forward.
I'll bring that to you next month, yep.
Good. Great. Anything else?
Just going forward with the with the contractors list, I certainly appreciate how much information you've been able to compile, and then sorting it by contractors really helps. Just curious as to whether or not we could obtain maybe some indicator of the minority or gender or local status of the contractors, and if that's appropriate, maybe a star or some kind of indicator that IDs those contractors that we do business with?
I can add in easily whether they meet our local preference, that I can add. We don't track the minority status because we don't require that as a bidding point. So that's something we've talked about, how we can acquire that information once they're on board. But I'll add in everything we have.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. And I'll get back regarding subtotals unless you guys feel strongly about having subtotals present at the next time.
I think subtotals would be certainly an interesting piece of information that enables us to see where we're going.
Great, yep, so, yeah, let's have those added then, that'd be wonderful. All right, and then next meeting, we will meet here in August, and then we are going to our retreat over, I think they haven't announced, but it seemed like it was gonna be GRPS University meeting.
Probably.
But here first, and then we're after. Thank you.